Welcome to STEAM State of Mind, your favorite source for all things STEAM education.
STEAM State of Mind.
This isn't just science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. It's a state of mind, a different way to approach education in the classroom.
STEAM State of Mind.
Enjoy these conversations with educators, students, and community members as we explore what it means to be in a STEAM state of mind.
STEAM State of Mind.
Hi, I'm Kari, coming to you from Kettering, Ohio with a STEAM State of Mind.
Hi, I'm Bern, and I'm really excited about today's episode. Today's episode is something that the educational system has established for over 100 years, and I want to tear it down.
You want to tear it down. So we're going to talk about tearing down the silos and then how this all kind of plays into the whole idea of a STEAM state of mind. And maybe we start with, for those who might not know, what do you mean by a silo?
So what I mean by a silo in the educational world is separating the content into specific areas. And so science is a silo. And even in the high school, the sciences can be torn down even into, smaller silos, if you want to say, into biology and physics and that type of thing. But in the elementary level, we have our core silos where you have language arts and you have math, and then you integrate if you can, but we usually don't because we have our silos up so strong that basically then there's you have science and social studies, and then they've built a couple of new silos with social and emotional learning, and then you have your art silo and physical ed and all of these different silos. So basically each content is viewed as a total separate entity that's been built around its content and not looked in the broader spectrum.
And do some teachers think their silos more important than another silo? And can that also cause some problems?
Well, okay. So that can cause problems, but it's not the teachers that I would say are the main, people that focus on which one is more important or which one is, the one that we need to spend the most time on. That's in a lot of cases is dictated.
Taken out of their hands?
Yeah, is dictated by the district or in some cases by the state. For more information on how long the state of Ohio requires students to complete each grade level, at this time, the state of Ohio requires a student in full-day kindergarten and through grade 6, they must attend 910 academic hours each year. For grades 7 through 12, the students must participate in 1,001 hours per year. Now back to the podcast. Let's just talk about the standardized testing is that, in the elementary, K through 4, really focuses just on the reading and math. Right. And so, I know some districts that is what they focus on. And if we get to the science silo or if you get to the social studies silo, okay, good. That was just an extra. But you're going to focus on reading skills and math skills. That's what the focus is on. And then in Ohio, in 5th grade, they finally have the science silo, but, tested. Other than that, that is, I wouldn't say the teachers say theirs is more important. I would say that the administrators or the people who dictate what the teachers are doing in the classroom.
And how they're tested.
And how they're tested, basically, yeah.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about you're an elementary coach, a coach at the elementary level. Let's back up and why is STEAM, why does it fit so perfectly into that kind of elementary atmosphere that we have in our schools? Why is it such a good place, such a good fit? Well,
I think when you're talking about in the elementary, most elementaries, at least through K through 4, they're not departmentalized yet. The teacher is with the child all day. and the teacher's able to be flexible with the time. Now, I know that, there's schedules and stuff like that, but the teacher can have some flexibility. And so if if a teacher wants to do an integrated PBL, they have the time to be able to do that integration. But when you move into the middle schools or in high school and some of the fifth grade teams, they are much more siloed. You have the bells, the dreaded bells that are in the school systems. You have, I'm not for sure what we have in Kettering, but most, high schools, it's like a 45-minute class, 45 to 50-minute class where, we're just doing math during that time. If they're doing algebra during that time, and the bell rings, and then you go into a different silo. And you're then going to do, the students then going to do 45 minutes of language arts or whatever. That in the elementary doesn't exist. We're not run by bells. And so that really promotes that integration of all of the content area. And that's why it's pretty exciting in the elementary levels to be able, we're not going by the bells.
Give us an example of how STEAM helps in tearing down those silos.
So the state of mind is really big in tearing down the silos because it's very hard sometimes to visualize because we grew up in silos, that's what we known for 100 years in the educational system. We did it in silos. So changing that state of mind, having a different mindset in how education in the elementary schools, and I wish all across, even in colleges, would have that STEAM state of mind where you look at the world in the view of all content areas together. Where is there, solving problems and critical thinking and using the knowledge that and the skills you get from these content areas, the core content, and applying them in, these STEAM settings. And it's so exciting to see that all come together where the students are doing language arts and math and, social studies and science all at the same time. And they don't even know that they're actually doing science when they're actually, they think they're doing reading, or sometimes the kids don't even realize that they're learning. That's what's so exciting about STEAM too, is that they're learning and they don't even know. And that's what we do in the real world. So in the elementary level, being able to tear down the silos when you have an integrated state of mind where you look at your lesson and you figure out, how can I pull this and how can I pull that in? What standards can I be, integrated into this? The big thing that also can really help teachers is that you hear the number one reason why they can't do something or, whatever, is that it's time. It takes time. And the great thing it's impossible, absolutely impossible for an elementary teacher to teach all the standards the way it should be taught in the amount of time that we have available to us. It's impossible. You can't do it. But by integrating it and teaching several content areas at the same time and standards at the same time, you can save time and get it accomplished. Yes, and get to it all. And I also hate when they say, well, I covered that. I wish there was another verb that we could use besides covered, because covering is not good enough. I'm going to forget. If we just cover it, I'm going to forget it. We need to get in depth. And STEAM education allows the students to really dive into and have purposeful learning experiences that they're going to remember.
Can you think of and you've been out in the buildings now for a couple school years. Can you think of an example of a teacher who kind of was able to tear down those silos and integrate multiple subject areas into, say, a lesson with students?
Right. So let's just take the example of social emotional learning. That is a big part of what we're doing, especially at the beginning of the school year, because that's where we are right now, the beginning of school year. And so self-management, how do you manage your own behavior? And those are skills that, and standards that teachers are responsible for, teaching in their classroom. Well, the best way to teach self-management is to actually, having the students opportunities where they're going to have to manage their behaviors and their emotions and that type of thing. And so there's a teacher, and I had worked with, well, actually it was a team of teachers that I worked with, where we came up with, we integrated their social studies, science, language arts, and social emotional skills all into one STEAM challenge. We called it STEAM challenge, where the students were challenged to engineer a ramp that they can have a car roll down the ramp, but it had to stop at the very end of the track. And so they had to manipulate the ramp at different heights and using, the gravity and, friction and all that stuff. Well, it sounds easy, but it's not. And and so the students, we went ahead and we read a picture book that the picture book is about Eat Pete. That was the name of the picture book, and Eat Pete basically is about this kid who's playing, and he has an imaginary friend like a monster, and they play together. But Pete wants to, Pete just wants to play and have somebody to play with, and they go through and they do these different these games, and one of the things they play with is, rolling a car down a ramp and stuff. But the monster, all he wants to do is eat Pete.
Eat as an EAT?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, EAT. Eat Pete. And so it's a great book because the monster is managing his behavior and, and is playing with Pete. But after a while, he loses his patience and he just eats Pete. Okay. And the kids are all like, what? He actually ate him.
Is this okay?
Yeah, is this okay? Well, okay. Eventually the monster regurgitates Pete and Pete is okay. And he's a little upset that the monster actually ate him, but the monster wasn't able to manage his behavior. But also Pete wasn't compromising and the different things. So we integrated language arts with that, and we integrated that's where the car challenge came in. And we were talking about how the students had to be patient, how they had to, compromise in their ideas because they worked in teams of 3. They went through the engineering design process. We had the whole, with the science with gravity and forces and friction and all of that stuff was integrated into it. And then we had a writing component where they had to do these reflection, questions about their experience and how they how they were able to manage their behavior and their emotions and that type of thing. We talked about the difference of controlling your emotions and managing, where you really can't control the emotions you have because they're just going to happen. You eat Pete, but you manage your emotions. Those were all the integrative factors of having a challenge at the beginning of the school year. And it was fun. The kids loved it. They didn't realize they were learning, but they were able to use the vocabulary and stuff like that we were promoting. It was great. I want to give a shout out to Kari and Adam. They have been creating STEM curriculum for elementary students since 2015. The idea that I came for the STEAM challenge with Eat Pete came from the STEM Teachers Club that they created. So in an effort to bring like-minded educators together to collaborate around STEM topics, they created the Elementary STEM Teachers Club Facebook group. Now, at the time of this recording, Kari and Adam have created 25 different social and emotional STEM lessons. All the lessons integrate literature and provides the printed resources needed to complete the lessons. To learn more about them and all of their wonderful resources, visit their website at www.kariandadam.com. Now back to the podcast.
So, as a STEAM coach, how do you sort of change the mindset, of our educators, or who might have a hard time realizing that breaking down those silos can actually be a benefit for them in the classroom in terms of what they're able to impart to their students and what they're able to teach them. How do you do that?
Well, it's difficult because, first of all, I really love how Kettering as a whole is starting to change the mindset. And so it is, it's not just me like trying to help the teachers. We also, the administrators and the gifted and the special ed and the speech and everybody is looking at the STEAM mindset. And I'm seeing this change that is occurring, and it's really exciting. And so teachers are asking for permission, and they're getting the permission to tear down the silos and to not go by. You have to do an hour and a half of reading, and you have to do 90 minutes of math, and then whatever. I remember, you probably remember this too, where you put up a schedule. We're doing this at this time, and this at this time, and this at this time. Well, those schedules are starting to go away, and it's more that integrate where we're doing all of this at the same time. And so I think it's changing the mindset of the entire district, and then actually going in there and doing things, and the teacher getting excited, seeing their students so excited, and that the students are remembering and actually retaining what the standards that we want them to learn. And they're remembering a lot more than doing a workbook page or doing, the whatever we've done in the past.
Right. And does Coach Bern, is it fun when you see these teachers who maybe kind of have this aha moment that, this really works?
Oh my God.
It really works. I mean, how fun is that for you?
It's so much fun. At first I was a little okay, how are the teachers going to accept having somebody come in and team teach? Because, a lot of teachers, and we like to be in control. I'm sorry.
We've talked about that before.
Yes.
Yep.
And we also, our classroom's our classroom. It's kind of like our home away from home. And these are our children. And, to be able to have somebody come in and, team teach and accept the kids as being, okay, these are our kids, and, it's just not my kids, and, being open to changing what they've done for years, or maybe they're new and they're just learning. But it is challenging, but it's so exciting when you start seeing that change of their mindset, the mindset that they are, you can almost see it when it's like, okay, I get it now. And because these kids are so excited and they want to continue that high engagement. Right. And that's really cool. It's like, okay, hold it. They did learn science, math, language arts, writing, all in this one lesson. And it worked. Yeah. And they're starting to see that.
And you have this kind of phrase that the what if, and that STEAM is so great at helping students kind of discover the what if. What do you mean by that?
So what if is, we live through our world. Adults go through this. Okay, well, what if we did this? Or what if we do that? And we give the students the opportunity to explore that and imagine and, the innovation and that kind of thing. If we allow the kids to understand that we don't know everything, and you can ask these what if questions, and it's okay, and let's explore it, and let's give the student a voice and let them to have more ownership in their own education, what's happening. It's really awesome. We were talking about homework earlier before the podcast. We were talking about homework, and some of the things of this integration piece and tearing down the silos is that when you do what I'm discovering, and this was kind of something new for me. I didn't, when I started doing this, I didn't expect this, but students start giving themselves homework. And what's so cool about that is that they're invested and they're being responsible. They end up doing it because they're responsible for their peers, and they know we have to get this done in order for this to happen. And so they start saying, hey, tonight, can you work on this part of this section, and then tomorrow we're going to add this and this and do this or whatever. And it's like, oh my God, that's so cool. And so they're like, the students have much more voice when you do that what if and you tear down the silos, and they're, they can see the whole big picture of the problem solving and the integration of it. And, it's just awesome when it all comes together. It's natural.
It's exciting. And you have the students saying, you don't have to
They're
be asked
assigning
if
homework.
you don't have to be asked if you have homework. You're just doing it because it's exciting and you're a part of a team and you want to make it work. And
Yeah, or and even that's when part of the social emotional skills too is when, you part of it is like sharing your talents and asking, sharing your talents and being willing to do the things that you're gifted in and or have these opportunities and collaboratively work on that with your other teammates. And so the kids start recognizing, hey, you're really good at art. Why don't you try to do this? Or you're really good at, writing and this vocabulary. Why don't you do this piece? And then they become even more excited. I mean, they're, okay, maybe it is their strength and we need to work on their weaknesses a little bit more. But I think it all builds, together when they actually recognize their talents and it boosts their self-esteem. It makes them feel better, instead of like you were talking about somebody who very well, having a meltdown on problem number 3 in their math workbook, because it's just, okay, I'm just going to say it's boring, and it's not
Just tell it like it
engaging
is.
to them. Yeah. So I think that's really cool about it.
Yeah, and I wasn't very helpful with that either. So
Well,
we'll just
tried.
leave it at that. That might not have been my finest moment, but we're working on that. We're working on it. I do have, Coach Bern, a question for you. Are you ready for your question?
I am ready.
All right.
I love these questions that come from the
right.
public.
Now, this is from Craig, and this is kind of an interesting one because you touched on this a little bit. He's wanting to know, why is STEAM something that shouldn't be taught only at the high school level or just in specialized schools?
Craig, that is a great question. And that's why, really, I'm so passionate about having this in the elementary level where if you've ever noticed, you go to a kindergarten classroom. Now, I taught 5th grade for 26 years, and so I was scared to death at first to go into a kindergarten classroom. Like, I have no idea what to expect. And oh my God, it was unbelievably wonderful because they don't have all of these parameters set up and they don't have, this like, oh, I can't do it this way because I was told I can't do it this way or whatever. Talk about that what ifs. They are so open to what ifs. They don't have the silos up yet. They haven't, built these silos or they haven't been placed into these silos. They know how to play and they know how to be creative and how to integrate naturally. And so in the elementary, when you go in, especially down in the kindergarten, 1st grade, they're just open to everything. They're sponges. And they think and they're asking all these great quality questions and all that stuff. Now, some of the questions are a little bit, like, how old are you? But it's still curiosity. I mean, they're so
Is
curious
blue your
about
favorite
everything.
color because you have a blue shirt on?
Exactly. And then as they get older, somehow in our culture, those things start getting closed and these walls start building. And we start, building silos. And I think in the elementary level, we have such an opportunity to keep those silos torn down, to keep these kids curious and creative and highly enthused to learn something new and highly engaged in their learning experiences. And that can then just keep going throughout their entire educational career and through life. The other part of it is that, especially in girls, that the maturity of the girls, that data will tell you that by 6th grade, they may not be conscious of it, but they've already have in their subconscious, I guess we could say, what type of career path they're going to go on. And if we don't expose them to this type of education and the sciences and the technology and the engineering and these different careers and all of that stuff in the elementary, we lose 50% of our population, or they have their mindset, or I don't know if call it mindset, but they're subconsciously in their mind, they've already are going with some of these more traditional female role kind of, careers. And so I really think in the elementary, they're going to be much, if we can expose the females, the girls to, these STEAM, opportunities, they're going to be more open to it. And it's going to be like they can say, hey, I can do this. I'm interested in this, and have that in their minds.
Yeah. And it's not to say we don't have, at least here in Kettering, and I'm sure districts are the same, STEAM opportunities at our middle school and high school levels.
They do. Yes.
It's a great, the elementary level is a great place to really concentrate somebody with your talents and your expertise to really get in there and begin to do some of these things that are going to help us make STEAM a mindset throughout our district for students of all ages. So it's really important that we get in there and start doing that. And that's what you've been doing and been doing it very successfully.
Well, thank you. I think that a lot of times people think that this is too challenging for elementary, and it's not. And that's why some people are like, well, they'll just do it in high school or middle school. No, we have to do it in the
Let's give them the foundation
elementary.
and elementary, and then they'll explore it even more when they get into the secondary levels.
100%, yes.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thanks, Bern.
Hey, thank you, Kari. I wish we had more time, but I could talk forever, as you know.
I know that. And you know what? Why don't we save it for next time? And why don't you let our folks know when that'll be?
So our next podcast is going to be about the growth mindset. And that is a really exciting topic. It's been around for a while, but we really need to, it's really an integral part of STEAM education. And so we'll be talking about that. And so get ready for that interesting conversation.
Sounds great.
All right. Thank you, Kari.